Hello everyone, thank you all for joining, and in this video we'll be having a closer look at Wolf's Gravestone versus Prototype Aminus. Now, Wolf's Gravestone is of course one of the featured 5-star weapons on the current weapon banner, and Prototype Aminus is a craftable 4-star weapon. Now, Wolf's Gravestone has some very interesting properties, especially in the ability, which we'll dive into later on in the video. Prototype Aminus, as I said, is a craftable 4-star weapon, and especially the craftable part is hugely valuable because everyone can get it. You don't have to waste Primo Gems to get it, and even the refinement is fairly easy. You just need to get a bit lucky with the weekly bosses. But let's dive straight in. For this comparison, I'm using Diluc because he's my main burst damage dealer and claymore user. As you can see, he's currently sitting at around 2200 total attack. He has Wolf's Gravestone currently equipped, as you can see here. And when we dive into the details, you can see that my Diluc, my Kaching gets all the love so far. His crit rate is still pretty low. The crit damage is very low. He does get the pyro damage because of the set I'm wearing, the Crimson Witch set. But he can definitely use some upgrades, and he'll be the next one I will work on. I first want to finish Kaching, who's very nearly done. As you can see, this is the set he's wearing. If you want to have a closer look, I suggest you watch my Diluc Overview video. I'll link it in the description. Now let's go into the weapons, and first things first, they are both of the weapons have been ascended, but not leveled to level 80. And that's simply because I don't have the EXP materials to get them both to level 80. So after the video, one of them will get the boost, and the other one will have to wait a bit longer. Now, when we look at the stats on the weapons, you can see Wolf's Gravestone as a 5-star weapon has a higher base attack. But unlike Aquila Vavonia versus the Flute, I have to say just the base attack value difference isn't that significant. Now, when we go to the substat, that's where a big difference occurs, because Wolf's Gravestone has a 40.9% attack percentage increase, and Prototype Eminence is sitting at 22.7%. When we go to the refinement, as you can see, Wolf's Gravestone is refinement rank 1, and Prototype Eminence is refinement rank 2. Now, for the abilities, Wolf's Gravestone increases attack by 20%. This is always active, just like Aquila Vavonia. So that's another attack percentage increase on the weapon. Then the real ability reads, on hit against enemies with less than 30% HP, increase all party members' attack by 40% for 12 seconds. This is a very interesting and, in my opinion, very fun ability, and I'll show you some examples later on. But just increasing the attack of the entire party, this scales up to 80% with refinement, and the attack percentage scales up to 40%. But it just opens up so much possibilities for combos, for doing fun stuff, and it gives the character another layer, and that's something I really, really enjoy. Now, Prototype Eminence, on the other hand, is very good at what it does. You know, if you have a burst damage dealer, put this weapon and you can't go wrong, because on hit, normal or charged attacks have a 50% chance to deal an additional 30% attack damage to enemies within a small AoE. Can occur only every 15 seconds, but this ability is just great for your burst damage dealer. I mean, every 15 seconds at the current refinement that I'm on, I basically deal 3 attacks in one. And the interesting thing about this is this attack can crit as well. So it scales with your crit, and it scales of course with your crit damage, and it also scales with your physical damage. Now, on Diluc, I will never put a physical damage increase piece, but on someone like Razor, this is very handy to have, because you can actually get away with running some physical damage pieces on him. Now when we look at the stats, what it does to the total attack stats, as you can see, let's switch to prototype Aminus. And then you can see it's sitting at around 1860 total attack. Now when we swap back to Wolf's Gravestone, just as a reminder, you can really see the attack percentages coming in because that's sitting at 2200. Now let's go over some non-procs, just basic combo string, Wolf's Gravestone, prototype Aminus, and let's see them side by side. As you can see, there's around 20% increase for Wolf's Gravestone, just the basic white damage, and that feeds into every attack, of course. Now when we have a look at the ability, as you can see, this is prototype Eminence, and there's the proc 858, and there is the crit. So let's see that again in slow motion. As you can see, 858, and that was on with a crit, and there you see it critting. It's huge damage. Now this is the trigger for Wolf's Gravestone. Pretty cool animation, but the more interesting is, of course, the ability, because look at the entire party. 40% increase on Diluc, 16% increase on Kaching, 17% increase because our base attack is fairly low on Mona, and a whopping 23% increase on Chi-Chi. And what does it mean in practical environment? Well, for example, her E on Mona will deal 70% increased damage. Chi-Chi, because all her healing spells skill of her attack, will actually heal for 13% more, which is just fantastic to have, because you activate the ability and you can heal a bit, and especially at 30%. Yeah, nice to have an additional 13% healing. Now, Kaching gets a 16% increase on her combo strings and her damage, and when we look at the look and the ult, you're looking at an average of 14% that it increases the damage, and that's over every attack. Now, what does this mean for these two weapons? Like I said, I really enjoy Wolf's Gravestone because these were some simplified examples, but of course, when you proc it, you can also swap to Mona, get her ult out, and basically deal insane amounts of damage, because that has a modifier of I think around 500% or something like that. It just opens up the character. Like I said, it gives another layer to the character, where prototype Eminence, you give that to your burst damage dealer, and your burst damage dealer will do more damage. Of course, that's what you want, but when you give Wolf's Gravestone to that same character, he gets a ton of utility, because through testing, and I've been testing it now for the past 24 hours, I already noticed myself swapping more often to Diluc. Diluc is my burst damage dealer. If you watched my team building video, my teams are set up in the way I have a main damage dealer, which is Kaching, out 50% of the time. Then I have two supports, one defensive support / healer, which is Chi-Chi in my case, one offensive support, which is Mona, 10% of the time out on the field. And then finally, Diluc is my burst damage dealer for when I need to deal a crap ton of damage. But now that he has that utility part of Wolf's Gravestone, it just becomes super fun to think about the options you have during combat. And that's something prototype Eminence doesn't provide, because at the end of the day, prototype Eminence just allows you to deal more damage. And I have to say here, when you're fighting a solo boss, it wouldn't be that weird to see prototype Eminence competing or even out-damaging, especially with the refinements, out-damage Wolf's Gravestone, or very nearly get very equal to it. But at the end of the day, you have 4 characters, and I set up my teams like a toolkit. Like, I want to react to certain situations. I want to, for example, I now have Chi-Chi, so I can do superconduct, and then I can use Kaching to not to just deal physical damage, with Aquila Vavonia, 50% less defense when superconduct occurs. And the same goes for Wolf's Gravestone. It just adds another tool to the toolkit. It's when you see it, I find myself swapping to Diluc even when I normally wouldn't, but just to get that buff, get extra healing. Mona's ult becomes stronger, swap back to Diluc or swap to Keqing, whose ult now does more damage, and it's just fun to have it. Now, the big caveat is, of course, it's a 5-star weapon and you will need to pull for it. And I think of all the 5-star weapons that are available, I think Wolf's Gravestone is the one I personally find to give the most value. You know, it changes the way you play the character to a certain degree, and the ability is just super fun and flexible. And it's just another tool in your arsenal. On the other hand, Prototype Eminence is just free to craft, and as you can see, it can really compete damage-wise with Wolf's Gravestone, and in some cases it will probably out-damage Wolf's Gravestone. So if you just want your burst character to deal the most amounts of damage, then it's fine to just stay with Prototype Eminence. Now, if you do want another option in your arsenal, I say go for it. Though, of course, set yourself a limit. Now, in terms of refinements, and this is just my personal opinion, so unless you have limitless amounts of money, I personally will not pull on constellations or weapon refinements. And why won't I do that? Because at the end of the day, you're just gaining a bit of stats. Like, of course, it scales up to 80% extra attack, which is huge, but it only scales up 10% of the time. You need 4 of them to get the full refinement. And even with the featured banner, you still have a 50-50 chance that you'll get it if you get the featured weapon. For me personally, at the end of the day, it doesn't provide... It provides more damage, you know, of course. A rank 2 Wolf's Gravestone will do more damage than a rank 1, but it doesn't provide me the extra that the first get gets, you know. The first get gives you a new weapon, gives you a new tool, and then the second get will only give you a bit of stats. That's just not worth it for me. And yeah, I'm not gonna go for refinement pools. I will never do that. I won't do it on 5-star constellations either, because I think getting a new character is more valuable than getting multiple characters. But I can see if some, like Klee has some very fun constellations, but yeah, I won't go for them because the character has to be good without constellations, and then the constellations are becoming a bonus. Now, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. At the end of the day, I think you can't go wrong with either of these weapons. Like, Wolf's Gravestone is not a weapon that you have to use, but when you get it, it just opens up a character so much. I mean, Diluc was a one-trick pony, a very good one-trick pony at that, but now with the with Wolf's Gravestone, it just gets a bit more depth. You know, am I gonna switch to Mona? Am I gonna switch to Keqing? Am I just gonna do the damage string using Diluc? Do I need extra healing? It's just fun to open up these possibilities. Now, Prototype Eminence is a perfect weapon for him. Just, I mean, left or right, you can't go wrong with it. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support since I started posting these Genshin videos. I never expected to get as many views as I have. So, yeah, thank you a lot for all the support. And I'll see you all in the next one.